What we're looking at today is the extremely useful split command. That's the second in the string manipulation commands we're looking at in sort of a mini series. And one of the main uses I have for string manipulation in general, and especially for the split command, is something called parameter files. And basically a parameter file is just a file that's external to the program, a text file that you can read and edit with Notepad or whatever. And the program reads in this file and sets itself up based on values it finds in this file. So if you want to change the way the program runs, you just change the parameter file without having to recompile, re-edit and recompile the file itself, the program itself. And this illustrates two things that I've mentioned in the past. First, data is the program of the program. The data items control the way the program runs, especially in the case of a parameter file. And if you look at this program specifically, you'll see that it's really written in layers. There's 3 layers, in fact. And most programs and most data structures are written in layers, especially if they're of any complexity at all. This is the form that actually runs. I just have a nice title, read and parse parameter file. And then I have a multi-line text field which will contain the values of the parameter file. And my original parameter files, I just put in values one after another with nothing to define what they are. And if you look at something like that 6 months later, you're not exactly sure how it works anymore. So I decided to switch to a keyword value type paradigm, where you have a keyword and then an equal sign and the value. And this not only makes it more clear what's in there, it also makes it order independent. I mean, you can order the lines in any order you want, and the program will just respond to the keywords rather than what order they are in the file. So the only other control I really have on the form is a button which says parse parameter file. And the name of the multi-line text field is text parse parm file. And the name of the button is btn parse parameter file. So if we look at the event handler for the button click, I basically just clear the text field, which is pretty unnecessary for this program actually, because you're only going to run it once every time. And then I call the next layer down of the layered software, which is the read parms function. And in the read parms function, first I check if the parameter file exists, and I throw up an error message if it doesn't, just a message box that says there's no parameter file, and then exit the program. And if there is a parameter file, I open it with as a stream reader and file.openText, and I read in the first line, and then I have a while loop that says if the line I just read in is null, stop looping. So I just fall out and then close the file and exit. But if it's not null, I call the third layer of software, the parse line function, with the line itself. And then once I call that, I read in the next line, go back and check if it's null, and so on in a loop. And the parse line is where I use the split command. I pass in the string in the end line, and then I do a split, which basically says you pass it a character of what you want to split the line on. And you can actually have several characters, but I just have the equal sign. And what I split it into is an array of strings. So what's before the equal sign will be in tokens 0, and what's after the equal sign will be in tokens 1, since I only have one equal sign per line. And then in the case of this program, all I'm doing is I'm taking token 0, which will be the keyword, and I'm appending it to the multi-line text file, and then I'm adding a new line, so each one will be on its own line. But if this were an actual parameter file, I'd probably have a switch based on the keyword, which is token 0. And I'd say if it's this keyword, set this global system parameter, which controls how the program runs. And if it's this keyword, set this global system parameter. And I quite often have other code in here that sets checkboxes and changes colors of things and does any number of possible things. And then I'd end the switch statement. But since this is just demonstrating the split command, all I do is write right now the keyword to the text file. If we look at the parameter file itself, you see this is just a faked up thing to demonstrate the principle. So I have a series of superheroes and a series of secret identities. So I have Superman equals Clark Kent, Batman equals Bruce Wayne, and so on. So if we compile and run this and press this button, we'll see we got each of the keywords before the equal sign. And if we change the token to a 1, the string array, and then we recompile and rerun and press the parm file, we get all the secret identities: Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Diana Prince, and so on. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a lot, and don't forget to subscribe.